Congratulations, you have been selected. Don't look for your application, you never sent one. Don't ask questions, there's no one to answer. Your presence here has not been validated, and yet here you are. Here is your contract of existence. Duration, undefined. Mission, unspecified. Conditions, incomprehensible. Salary, non-existent, and yet you sign it every single day by waking up. Welcome to Absurdia. Welcome to your life. Here, everyone plays a role without knowing why. We wait for things that never come. We search for meaning like searching for a needle in a haystack, only to realize the needle never existed. The absurd is not just a theory, it's an experience, a daily vertigo, a joke where we are both the spectator and the punchline. Camus, Beckett, Monty Python, they all tried to map out this strange place we call reality. So follow me. Through Waiting for Godot, Beckett's masterpiece of 1953, we're going to step deep into Absurdia, pull back the curtain on its strange logic, and discover why none of this makes any sense, and why that might just be the best news of your life. Nothing to be done. That's the first line of Waiting for Godot, a play written by Samuel Beckett, an Irish writer and playwright who mastered the art of exposing life's most unsettling truth. There is no grand explanation coming. First performed in 1953, Waiting for Godot tells the story of two men, Estragon and Vladimir, waiting by a lonely tree for a man named Godo. They believe he will give them direction, meaning, purpose, but he never arrives. He never even confirms he exists. And so, they pass the time. They talk, they joke, they argue. They try to leave, but never do. They fill the silence with distractions, with meaningless conversations, with bizarre rituals to avoid confronting the unbearable fact that nothing is happening. It's funny, it's tragic, it's pointless, and it's also terrifyingly familiar, because Waiting for Godot is not just a play, it's life. Think about it. You wake up, go to work, scroll through your phone, go home, sleep, wake up again, waiting. For what? For something to happen, for a promotion, for love, for money, for clarity, for the right moment to change your life. You tell yourself, once I get X, then I'll finally be happy. But when you get it, the feeling fades, and a new X takes its place. This is the absurd, that moment when you stop and realize, with chilling clarity, that you've been waiting for something that might not even exist. And the absurd isn't just an internal crisis, it's written all over the world we live in. Take bureaucracy. Have you ever tried canceling an online subscription, only to be told you need to log into an account you no longer have access to? Or stood in a government office with a form that requires another form, that requires a signature from a department that only exists on Tuesdays? That's Kafkaesque theater, and you're the unpaid actor. Or look at work. Millions of people spend their days writing emails no one reads, attending meetings that accomplish nothing, filling out reports that will never be used, a performance, a ritual, an elaborate way to pass the time. As David Graeber put it, we created bullshit jobs just to give people the illusion that their waiting has a purpose. And politics? It's Waiting for Godot on a national scale. A 3-hour debate where politicians speak without saying anything. A campaign where both sides promise real change while ensuring nothing really changes. Applause, cut to commercials. Even entertainment is infected with the absurd. Have you ever found yourself scrolling endlessly on Netflix, trying to pick something to watch, only to give up and go to bed? You just spent an hour waiting for something to entertain you, instead of actually watching something. Monty Python understood this better than anyone. Their comedy isn't just about being silly, it's about exposing reality for what it is. A world where government procedures don't make sense, where social norms are arbitrary, where serious institutions are often just sophisticated nonsense factories. Take their famous Spanish Inquisition sketch. A normal conversation is happening, then suddenly, boom! Three men in ridiculous red robes burst in, shouting, "Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition." There's no reason for them to be there, no context, no explanation. That's the joke. And it's also exactly how real life works. 1 minute, you're walking down the street thinking about lunch. The next, a global financial crisis happens. Or your boss tells you your entire project has been scrapped. Or you trip on the sidewalk and fall face first into a stranger's dog. Life doesn't follow a script. It doesn't build neatly toward a climax where all the questions get answered. It just happens. And that's why Waiting for Godot is still relevant today. Beckett forces us to confront what we'd rather ignore, that we are all on stage, playing a role, reciting lines, hoping the plot makes sense. But deep down, we suspect that it doesn't. So now that we've seen the absurd for what it is, the question is, what do we do about it? Some refuse to see it, some run from it, some invent entire systems of belief just to escape it. And that's what we'll explore next, the great escape attempts from absurdia. Godot is always coming. That's what keeps Estragon and Vladimir going. If they just wait a little longer, he'll appear. He must. Otherwise, what was the point of all this? But the audience knows the truth. Godot will never arrive, and yet the waiting continues because the alternative, accepting that no one is coming, is unbearable. This is the absurd, not just realizing that life lacks meaning, but watching ourselves refuse to accept it. We cling to the idea that there must be something bigger, something deeper, something just out of reach that will make sense of it all. And when reality refuses to cooperate, we look for exits, desperate to escape the unbearable silence. One of the most popular escape routes is faith. Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, saw the absurd as an unbearable contradiction, a war between human reason and an indifferent universe. His solution, jump. When logic fails, take a leap of faith. Believe anyway. Not because it's rational, not because it's provable, but because the alternative, staring into the abyss, is too much to bear. Faith gives structure, rules, purpose. It offers a Godot, who may not have arrived yet, but definitely exists. But unlike Kierkegaard, Camus, the king of the absurd, refused to jump. For him, the leap of faith wasn't bravery, it was an escape hatch, a refusal to look the absurd in the eye. Religion, in this view, doesn't solve the problem, it just paints over it. For those who reject religion, there's always another illusion, hope. Hope that one day, somehow, it will all make sense, that happiness is just around the corner, that if we endure long enough, suffer long enough, wait long enough, the answer will come. This is Estragon and Vladimir staring at the road, convinced that tomorrow will be different. It never is, but they keep waiting. We all do. For the perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect moment. We tell ourselves, once I have this, then everything will fall into place. But life isn't a movie. There is no grand resolution, no final act that neatly ties it all together. And then there's distraction, the easiest escape of all. If existence is absurd, then why think about it? Just keep moving, keep working, keep scrolling. The more stimulation, the less space for doubt. This is why we flood every moment with noise. Work emails, social media, mindless entertainment, all of it designed to keep us from stopping, from thinking, from seeing what Estragon and Vladimir refuse to see. There is nothing to wait for. Monty Python turned this into comedy, a world where people blindly follow rules, where bureaucracy collapses under its own absurdity, where politicians give speeches that sound profound but mean absolutely nothing. The joke isn't that these things exist, the joke is that we accept them. And for those who see through it all, who recognize the absurd but can't face it, there is one final escape: despair. If nothing matters, why bother? If there's no meaning, why not give up? This is where nihilism creeps in, the temptation to reject joy, reject action, reject everything. Dostoevsky saw where this could lead. If there is no higher order, no grand moral structure, then is everything permitted? Can we do whatever we want? Some turn this into chaos, destruction, a desperate attempt to impose order by force. But even destruction is a kind of belief, a refusal to accept that the universe doesn't care. And so the great escape attempts fail. Faith does not erase the absurd, it just hides it behind doctrine. Hope does not fix the absurd, it just delays the confrontation. Distraction does not defeat the absurd, it only postpones it. Despair is not a solution, it is surrender. And yet Estragon and Vladimir remain on stage, waiting, hoping, distracting themselves, too paralyzed to leave. So what now? If escape is impossible, if Godot isn't coming, if running from the absurd only leads to dead ends, what's left? Not how to flee from absurdia, but how to live in it. Not how to find meaning, but how to create it. That's where we must go next. There is a moment in Waiting for Godot when Estragon, exhausted from waiting, suddenly suggests leaving. Vladimir agrees, but they don't move. They just stand there, paralyzed, as if the thought of taking action is so overwhelming that it's safer to do nothing at all. This is the ultimate absurd trap. Once you see it, once you realize that no grand narrative is coming to save you, you face a terrifying choice. Do you collapse under the weight of meaninglessness? Do you cling to illusions? Or do you do something radical, something almost no one dares to do? Do you embrace the absurd? Camus called this revolt, not rebellion. There is nothing to overthrow, not nihilism. There is no need to destroy. Revolt is something simpler, yet infinitely more powerful, living fully despite the absurd, not waiting, not searching for a cosmic justification, but taking ownership of life as it is, on your own terms. If life is absurd, then you are free. Free from the burden of a pre-written script, free from the pressure to make everything fit into a perfect storyline, free to play, to invent, to experience. This is why Camus wrote, "One must imagine Sisyphus happy. The man condemned to push a boulder up a hill for eternity should be the perfect symbol of despair." And yet, Camus flips the narrative. He envisions a man who, at the peak of the hill, just before the rock rolls down again, smiles. Not because his suffering has meaning, not because the gods will reward him, but because he has chosen to own his absurd existence. He doesn't need a divine plan. The act of living itself is enough. And this is where Waiting for Godot leaves us with a choice. Estragon and Vladimir could leave. They could abandon the tree, walk into the unknown, stop waiting, but they don't. That is Beckett's tragedy. They remain stuck in the loop, forever paralyzed, forever hoping for something that will never arrive. But you are not on a stage. You're not bound by Beckett's script. You can leave, you can stop waiting. What does it mean to embrace the absurd? It means refusing to be a passive spectator. It means finding joy in the act of existence, not in what it might lead to. It means laughing at the ridiculousness of life, not because it is trivial, but because it is liberating. Monty Python understood this perfectly as well. Their comedy isn't just about being silly, it's about exposing the absurdity of the world. If reality refuses to provide meaning, then why not make it hilarious? If bureaucracy is pointless, mock it. If politics is empty rhetoric, turn it into a joke. If life has no inherent purpose, fill it with whatever makes you feel alive. But this isn't just about humor, it's about power. The absurd doesn't strip you of agency, it gives you total control. If nothing is preordained, then everything is up to you. Love isn't some cosmic destiny, it's a choice, an act of rebellion against indifference. Creativity isn't a way to leave a legacy. It's a way to express pure, meaningless joy. Experience isn't a stepping stone toward some final goal. It is the goal itself. This is what it means to live in absurdia, not to escape it, not to fight it, not to be crushed by it, but to play in it. To treat life not as a puzzle to be solved, but as a game where the rules make no sense. The referees are asleep and the points don't matter. Godot is not coming, and that is the best news you will ever hear. Because it means you don't have to wait anymore. You don't have to refresh your inbox like it's a slot machine, hoping for the email that will change your life. You don't have to sit through another pointless Zoom call, nodding along as if corporate synergy will suddenly make existence meaningful. You don't have to wait for your big cinematic moment. Newsflash, there's no third act reveal where it all clicks together. You can walk off the stage mid-monologue. You can start treating traffic jams like live theater. You can give absurdly confident answers to questions you don't understand just to see how far you can get. You can spend a whole afternoon making up conspiracy theories about pigeons. You can whisper, "Follow me if you want to live," to strangers in elevators. Because if life is a joke, then congratulations. You are both the comedian and the audience. If there's no meaning, then you're free to make up the wildest one you can imagine. And once you stop waiting, once you stop asking for permission to exist, you might just realize something incredible. Absurdia isn't a prison. It's a theme park where none of the rides are inspected. Enjoy. And now, here we are. You've seen the map. You've walked through Absurdia. You've waited for Godot, filled out the forms, listened to the speeches, played along with the game. And now you stand at the edge of the stage, staring into the void. No script, no grand design, no hidden meaning waiting to be unlocked. Just you and this ridiculous, beautiful, meaningless thing called existence. So what now? Do you keep waiting? Do you keep refreshing, keep hoping, keep telling yourself that someday it will all come together? Or do you finally get the joke? Do you laugh? Do you step off the stage and start playing for real? Because if life is absurd, that's not a prison, that's freedom. No divine approval needed, no permission slip required, no existential HR department waiting to validate your choices. Just an open space, a blank page, and whatever you choose to do next. So tell me, what's your Godot? What's the thing you've been waiting for, convincing yourself that once it arrives, then you'll really start living? Drop it in the comments. Let's hear it. Because you're not alone in Absurdia. We're all in this bizarre, cosmic improv show together. And if this gave you an existential crisis, a moment of clarity, or just a laugh at the sheer ridiculousness of it all, you know what to do. Subscribe, not because it will change your life, not because it will give you the answers, but because for a brief moment you saw through the illusion, and that's worth sticking around for.